Welcome to Growing Ecommerce. I'm one of your hosts, Mike Ryan, and with me is our other host,
Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Hello, sir.
So we've got a good one for you again today. I mean, I think we try to make every episode good. We've been in kind of QBR season. We just did a lot of our quarterly talks with some of our clients, and
big clients.
That's true. Yeah, I can't humble brag about this, so I'm just going to brag. We're talking with some pretty large brands and retailers, by European standards.
Yes.
There's the humble
part. Yes.
And yeah, I mean, some of the topics that we've been talking about, we think would just be really relevant to a broader audience. And I think it's interesting for you two to know what's on people's mind, what's on the agenda in these meetings. So that's going to definitely include DLG, which is, if you don't know that acronym, it's a new part of Google's sales agenda called demand-led growth. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about UCP,
growth pressure,
Universal Commerce Protocol, growth pressure, and more.
Data challenges.
Yes.
I mean, I think what. By the way, I didn't want to brag. I just wanted to add that.
Well, for context.
For context, because the topics we unpack today and talk about today should just reflect what even the biggest of the big ones are thinking about, and where the challenges lie with these big organizations. And I think it's very telling in which era we are operating in right now. And I think a lot to learn from the big ones.
Yes.
So this is why, and a little bit of bragging, maybe.
A little bit of brag. Why not?
Why not? But the European part was so humble.
Yeah. Well,
especially when it comes from an American. I love it. All right, let's jump right into it. So, setting the stage. QBR time. QBR stands for quarterly business review. It's basically strategy meetings we have with our clients in general, depending on the service scope, and not just on the size, but it happened now that the last 2 or 3 months, Mike and I were visiting rather large clients of ours, and where it's really about reviewing a quarter, sometimes the last 6 months, and plan the next 3 to 6 months. And strategic topics pop up quite regularly. And today we want to talk about a couple of them, of course, in an anonymized way, but what are the patterns we see? What is moving? Even the big ones. And which topic we want to start, Mike?
I mean, we can kick it off with DLG maybe.
DLG,
because so like these QBRs, what I love, it's just a break from business as usual. And I'm personally not in like these more weekly or high frequency touch points, and so I love when I get invited to one of these.
Yes,
I'm always happy about that. But DLG is something. This one surfaced to me because it was getting raised more often, and it's something that advertisers were bringing to us and asking our opinion about it. And you can guess who was bringing it to the advertisers.
I guess it's Google.
Yeah, it's Google.
All right.
Yes. So DLG is super. They've done a great job.
Great job. Demand-led growth.
Yes, which is a code word, and I don't want to be too negative on this because it's not all good or bad, but I'm just admiring their sales skills because the demand-led growth is their concept or phrasing for having an open budget, an unlimited budget. And that is, it's a very different framing. If you go to the clients or to advertisers and you say, you should give us a blank check, that would land a certain way. But their argumentation here, and it's not totally wrong, it's rather sophisticated. Their argumentation here is that, if you have a budget and you're hitting that in a given day or stuff like that, or over the course of a month, then you are missing opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you have an open budget, your costs can more readily follow that demand. So if there's a spike in demand on a given day, you can make sure that you were there for it. And meanwhile, you can still have an efficiency target in place, a ROAS target, to make sure that everything still kind of works out. So it's sophisticated line of argumentation.
It's sophisticated. I love the sales narrative. And by the way, we sometimes shit on Google where it's due. In this case, I'm not even negative about it, because I think it's reflecting to a certain degree also our point of view. I think limited budgets is kind of an old concept, and what you said is perfectly right. If you limit your budget, you can't be demand led, because sometimes there's way more demand out there compared to the budget limits you set. So I like that idea.
Yeah.
Honestly speaking, I like the sales narrative, and I think to our listeners out there, this is the fun part, right? Google is really good at driving this into the market, and they drive it to the small ones and to the big ones.
Yeah.
And for me, Google is a very, very well-oiled sales machine.
Yeah.
Some features don't make so much sense. This one, I'm very neutral, and I'm rather positive, honestly speaking. Let's unpack it.
Yeah, I mean, but it's often entering these organizations in a top-down manner. It's another skillful approach.
Yes.
So they'll often approach CMO or someone more senior and bring it down to the teams who might be a bit more skeptical toward it. And I view it neutral as well. On the one hand, Google is already allowed to kind of play games with your daily costs. They're allowed to break your daily budget by a large margin, actually. And so the question becomes like, is it really necessary? Because they can already span. How limited are they really? So I think that's one of the more skeptical thoughts I have.
True. I co-sign that, but for me, I think there's a substantial difference. So by the way, the results we see across the board, so clients adopt this demand-led growth idea. They're mixed. You really have outliers in both directions.
Yeah.
So I think it's worth giving it a shot. That's my stance on it.
It's worth testing.
It's worth testing. The substantial takeaway for me is, and that's why it's, I think, very much aligned with our point of view.
Yeah.
What's the winning paid search playbook for the year 2026 and beyond, is that Google now actively, they're not just telling you open the budget and let the demand decide how much you spend, but they are really telling you, you have your efficiency targets in place, and use the Target ROAS.
Yes.
The ROAS settings as a guidance for Google.
Yes.
And this is what we...
we were talking earlier this season about using ROAS as a lever.
As a lever, as a signal to Google. And this is why, like I said, we have a neutral stance on it. You see a mixed bag of results.
Yeah.
It's worth testing. And I love the idea that open budgets is not new, but that Google is really actively telling you, use the ROAS as a signal for the algorithm. That's, for me, somehow new.
Yeah, and the other thing that I view positively here, because I've actually seen a trend, I feel like we might have even talked about it on here before, but I've actually seen a trend that in recent years that is kind of the opposite of this. And so they'll actually have no ROAS target in place, and then they control the campaigns through cost.
Yeah.
They're using cost controls on the campaign. And so, I favor this. In principle, they achieve similar effects, but I favor this other way a bit better. It feels better
for sure. No, for sure. So I think message to listeners, I think it's worth a shot.
Yeah.
But you have to understand that the ROAS target setting now becomes a dynamic lever for you, and you have to have an idea how to do it. I mean, the conversations we had with our clients, most of them do this based on gut feelings.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Which I think can be done way better, but you have to be aware of it. This is not a static game anymore. If you have demand-led growth active, open your budget. Yeah. You have to use the target ROAS very dynamically.
Yes.
That's I think one topic for a lot of clients, especially the big ones.
Yeah.
What else do we have? UCP.
Yeah, UCP.
It's everywhere.
Yes. And this is actually not coming from Google so much yet. But advertisers are always asking us
concerned.
about this. Yeah, because they see the press releases and stuff like that. They don't get a lot of concrete information, and there are other other partners are not always able to help them. Let's put it like that.
That's
including
true.
their Google.
Yeah, this is good for us. But it's not about that now.
Yeah.
From what are these prototypical questions we got asked?
Yes. So questions like what is UCP?
What is it?
And what do I need to do for UCP? And this will partly depend on how your company is structured and stuff like that. But we are often talking with performance marketers, paid search teams, stuff like this. And UCP in and of itself is not really an action item for them, a huge action item, because UCP is this infrastructure layer, and you have some work to do on the integration with your shop system there. So that's something for your shop system team, and this is I think an important message here is that if you're using one of these, let's say, modern or standardized shop systems, like because I don't want to say that bespoke shop systems can't be modern, but they're not standardized. But if you're using Shopify, for example, they're one of the partners driving this thing. So Shopify is going to make this quite easy. And all the other shop systems will follow suit here. And so those advertisers will be at an inherent advantage because they're going to be able to activate this rather smoothly. And otherwise, if you've got a bespoke system or a smaller solution or legacy stuff, then you have a little homework
to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the documentation is there. And, so I like to kind of direct the conversation at that point to what I see is more relevant to the growth teams, the performance teams, which is really what's going on in their merchant center feeds.
The data feed, right? The data feed is also in the center of this whole, or should be in the center of this whole UCP discussion, because it will matter first.
Yeah.
That's what we think. And it will matter the most, especially in these early stages.
And it's going to extend beyond UCP
for
sure. As well. So like, in terms of the UCP related homework, we don't know if we've talked about this before, but there are a couple of rather boring administrative fields that you have to populate. There's stuff like, I have to look, but like, I think like tax compliance statements, some shipping or fulfillment.
Everything related to costs, you have to be picture perfect.
Yeah. So and then you when it comes to this future oriented stuff like the AI checkout and stuff like that, this is something that you opt in or out. There's a field for that, and that needs to be opted in or out at the product level. But that's what is kind of on you in this feed area for that. But it's everything that comes next, and that's your overall feed hygiene, because we can get distracted by new attributes, but in the first place, your titles, your descriptions,
the basics,
your product types, this boring stuff that we've been talking about for years, but it still matters. Those are still basics and they're foundational.
Yes.
And having all of your existing feed attributes well populated, current, this is table stakes.
The foundation.
Yeah, it's a foundation.
Where does the magic happen?
The potential competitive advantage here, I mean, we don't know yet because it's just too new, but it comes from these new conversational attributes. And the idea here, we've talked a bit about this in the past, but this is something that is supposed to help ground Google's AI. They want all that data from your landing page that they would have to crawl themselves otherwise. And do all that kind of work. So they want things from like your Q&As, reviews, and all kinds of places. Anything that you have in there that's not in your feed, they want it. Anything that might be in one of your other product feeds like Meta or OpenAI, they want that too. They want as much data as they can possibly get. And this stuff is more semantically oriented, as you could say. Like it is going in the direction of more text and
conversational. It will be conversational.
Exactly, and that should power these experiences. But I think that this is something that we should be way more focused on than necessarily the UCP stuff. That has a place too. This infrastructure, but if you are a performance team, this is where it gets more interesting, because you have to decide which of these attributes are relevant to your catalog. You have to decide your capability to populate each of these. You have to estimate what could be the uplift or the impact of that. How hard is it going to be? And that comes then down to prioritization. Because I think if you try to do everything all at once, it won't work.
It won't work, yeah. And I think the beauty of this discussion or the discussions we had with our clients is that you can put focus on one thing now where there is the highest probability or can be found in terms of, okay, this will impact your performance. I think there is a beauty in it.
Yeah.
Again, there are leverages for you to outsmart competition. I always love that. You can outsmart Temu. We talked about that in one of our episodes. The big ones, you can outsmart them, and I think you really have this. This is one of the areas of, let's say, the agentic commerce noisy bubble. This is one of the areas where you should be really hands-on.
Yes,
and it drives the big ones.
Yeah,
as much as the small ones.
Absolutely, and I think you get concerns about, like, if you're a smaller business, how do my resources stack up against the big ones and stuff like that. But just that's why prioritization is key. Starting early enough is key. But we don't need to panic either. But the other thing that I really like to emphasize when I talk to our clients about this is that this is more important than UCP or agentic checkout or all these buzzwords, because whether or not you're even opted into UCP, Google says that this will support your visibility in AI mode and in other surfaces and experiences as well. So, I think it can help in terms of AI overviews. It can help in terms of free listings. It is bigger and broader than that. I think your organic should benefit from this. It's overall something that you should 100%. Work on for your visibility sake.
It's one of the most important basics you have to get right now.
Yes.
Now we don't know exactly. The new data feed attributes are not fully open yet. I think they will. There will be way more in the future.
I think so. There's they say that there are dozens coming in.
They're on track. It
qualifies for the word dozens right now, but not when I think of dozens. I think of
rather 24 than 12.
Or I rather think of I think of 72 rather than 24 even. So, let's see how many there will be. But I think that they're actively working on this. And I think, they'll want to cover more industries in more use cases and more products with attributes that make sense for those catalogs.
No, for sure.
So
it's certainly one of the bigger topics we had on the agenda with our clients the last probably 2 months, 1.5 months. And sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you about growth. I think that was
growth. Because what I found very interesting is, again, we preach this for a very, very long time that. At the end of the day, when you have your new business plans in place and you want year-over-year growth, the bottom line question is, okay, at which costs can I drive this incremental growth? And what I really loved about these last 5, 6, 7 meetings we had together here is that this understanding of incrementality really lands now. And the good part about it is that it also lands at the highest levels of these companies. So the CFOs now, understand, it will cost to put another 5% points growth this year. And the return on ad spend, which is the guiding North Star for so many performance marketing teams, it's not a given anymore. They understand the dynamics here. There's also one major takeaway I have, and I love it. So they understand growth costs.
One
last thing, Mike. Sure. For me, so many players were in, and maybe still are in deep troubles post-pandemic. And one major reason was, and I don't want to shit on the finance teams, but the finance team said, well, 2021 was a great year. 2022 will be another great year. And of course, 2023 will be even a better year. So the thought about this unlimited growth at maybe even sometimes better efficiency levels. This fallacy in their planning was one of the major reasons why so many retailers struggled big time. And I think this understanding landed now. And that's one of the most positive takeaways.
For sure. I think you hear about the CMO, CFO marriage, how that should be in organizations. And I think that and that's been coming to life now for a while. And these channels are not new, and they're often a very large percentage of a company's online revenue and even their total revenues. And so it's the CFOs start to understand these campaigns and these platforms better over time. And it's starting to really show.
I like that. And again, the companies we have been talking to now, they are big companies. So it's not a given that the CFO, right?
they have a lot of other concerns.
That's why I'm stating. It's not about shitting on them. It's just far away. But the understanding was great, and we landed with our message way better than the years before, where there was way more discussion going on. Another topic, by the way, which I found very interesting because it's connected to the episode we did last week, if I remember correctly. The big ones from the East.
Yeah. Okay.
Chinese competition.
Yes. Yes.
It's everywhere. And no industry is safe. It seems it's crazy. And the big question for most of these online retailers and clients was, okay, what can we do about it?
Yes.
What's your projection? Will it be more? Will it be less? Unfortunately, there's no easy answer to that.
No, it will be as much or more. Yeah,
yes,
it will be more. So
it will be more,
as we talked about last week. Yeah,
and again, then we talk about these last mile optimizations. Be hands on. That the last mile will matter more than ever against these giants. So this was another topic, and for me, very interestingly, even the decision makers are now really getting more interested in this last mile.
Yeah.
Which I find, without micromanagement, but just understanding which leverage do we actually have. So I think a lot of positive takeaways from these meetings.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of last mile, I was reading an article from a friend of the podcast, Vinny O'Brien, lately about how platforms are all fighting for fulfillment and delivery and stuff like that. And but all this post-purchase experience is becoming way more important. If you become ChatGPT's warehouse or Google's warehouse or something, we talked about zero-click last episode, and in the past UCP, though we just mentioned, it's relevant to this. Then that post-purchase experience, last mile, becomes even more important. And I bought something from a marketplace, or rather, Steffi bought something from Marketplace, and like, we're used to just, it was so great because this one seller, they knew that. And the way everything was packaged, it was so nice and premium and stuff. She was like, I actually could have just shipped this to my mom. It was actually for her mom. She's like, I could have just shipped it for her, and it would have been like a gift experience. She would have loved opening this.
Awesome.
And that's how you win loyalty. And that, that's what.
And she wanted to buy more.
Yeah, it definitely made a good impression.
Good for the online retailer.
And next time, maybe she'll roll the dice and send it straight to her mom's instead of to us.
No, but you're right about that statement. And but in general, I think the good thing is it really feels like, again, that you have leverages. You can do things. It's all about setting the right price and understands, like Pareto. It meant the beauty of our business is that there are some principles which just they are just untouched.
Yeah.
They're astronomical physical laws almost, right?
Yes.
Pareto. What really matters when we talk about the new data feed attributes, there will be dozens for sure. I mean, we see it already in conversations with Google. Then there's a lot of dynamic. Be sure about the impact for your business. Don't go for every attribute, right?
Yeah.
So I think this is the good thing, that you have leverages here, and if you have the right understanding of setting the price right, you can be, again, smarter than competition.
Yeah,
I love that.
Absolutely,
I love that. What else was there? Do we have any more topics?
We touched on a couple of the big ones that are top of mind for me.
I mean, one last thing which could be interesting is this constant fear of being too granular versus it was a common theme, right?
Yeah.
It was a common theme. How granular do I want to be with my campaign structure? Google sometimes is fighting against it because you need this data velocity on campaign level. Also, I think was a constant topic. And here our recommendation is quite easy. Easy. It's it's not easy, but it's a thin line.
Yeah.
Don't be stupid and go with this one campaign type approach. That's certainly not maxing out your business results. At the same time, don't be too granular. You need these 30 to 100 conversions on campaign level.
Yes. But that's the thing. Like, especially, we were talking about large advertisers, and they can chop up their data a few more times and have plenty of conversion volume. You do, because that's also diminishing returns. Like, we see that we've looked at data for how many conversions do you need for the algorithm to perform, and after like 200 monthly conversions or something like that, it's not going. The picture's not going to change that much anymore.
Sure.
You've got more than enough conversions in there.
Yeah.
So it's more than like, do I have a reason for this split? Is there a tactic here?
Yes.
Can I use this to better reflect my business goals, my strategy? What is the reason for all these things? Because if you're going in a catch-all situation, or like, you're not being strategic, you're not being tactical, and
let's face it, you're highly dependent on this 1-2 campaigns and on Google. I mean, because
we're a little recency biased. We were talking with someone, and it's a large business, and they've really got an awful lot of their total company revenue running through one PMax campaign, and to me it's scary because
this thin line between granularity and this 1-2 campaign type setups.
But
great discussions we had here.
But then the question comes up with search campaigns as well, because we were in a situation where someone is a bit stuck in the bad old days with an overly granular search campaign, and that was great back then. That was state of the art at one point, but not anymore.
Not anymore.
But this is a very large account, and it's non-trivial to just consolidate it, or it needs to just be done with a strategy and with care.
Yes. Yeah. One last thing which pops up in my mind is, and by the way, this is an evergreen for a certain degree, attribution.
Yeah.
And now marketing mix modeling.
Yes.
It's I don't know, to listeners, how much you have put thought into this marketing mix models out there. I think there are great tools out there. We are quite big on it. To really understand the contribution of a channel becomes more and more important, especially because the incrementality of your growth rate becomes more expensive.
Yes.
Because of the likes of Temu, rising CPCs, the whole environment. And to really understand, okay, where is my incrementality coming from? With the true impact, to understand what is this campaign really providing to my revenue goals. This topic has completely different weight than one year ago.
Yeah. Yes.
And again, I think it's the right thing to do.
Yes.
Especially for the big ones, maybe even small ones who are diversified already. It's not just Google. You have different paid media channels in general. Are you really understanding the true impact of your channel? Yeah. Again, I like that. This is the right thing to focus on.
Yeah, absolutely. And these models can, in some cases, even get into sub-channel effects.
Yes.
Is quite interesting. I just think there's, like, if we talk about Google's technology at this point is very expansionary. It's very much oriented toward, are you getting all the impressions that you could get? Are there pockets that you're missing, etc.? And that's something that really benefits from incrementality testing, or from marketing mix modeling, because the question arises, like, were those it's great. There are more impressions out there. Google's tech helped me get it. Was that good? Because Google says they'll get you incremental revenue. We've talked about this before, but they mean that merely in the sense that it was additive, that it was physically on top.
Yes. At the same efficiency level.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that's right.
You forgot some very, very
they'll get you incremental conversions at the same efficiency. But they are not answering that question of, was this in some way causal?
Exactly.
Was this actually building out the business, or and that, because every advertiser, this is basically just another manifestation of the law of diminishing returns, but every advertiser will have a ceiling on their impressions that they don't really want to extend past, because it's not going to be efficient to do so. And so, you can, by broadening, maybe you can go out horizontally and find ways to expand that way. I understand the argumentation, but it's something that I think just benefits from verification, calibration.
Yes, for sure. And I think the good news is here that marketing mix modeling has been a super complex thing, and it might still is, but the cool thing is, and we saw this now since we are focusing on this as a company, there are great tech stacks available.
Yes.
We are working on one. There are other tools out there which make marketing mix model a feasible thing.
Yes.
For the mid-sized small online retailer, let's face it. And this is great to truly understanding the impact of a channel based on a scientific approach. I like that. And it has become a bigger topic. So for me, a positive takeaway.
Yeah.
Another positive takeaway.
Absolutely.
So Mike, is it outro time?
I think it's outro time. So that's what we've had on our mind lately, what we've been hearing from clients, what they've had on their minds lately.
And there are solutions to every topic.
Yes.
Unless the Temu and JD pressure you can't control, but there are a lot of areas you can really make a difference again.
Yes. I mean, I think that there's always how to say this? You can't remove every situation, but you can. There's always going to be some wiggle room, and that's what optimization is.
Might I quote the great Matthew McConaughey again?
Yeah, go for it.
I
think I know what you're going to say.
You primed me because just a little story to end this episode. Interstellar, one of our favorite movies, and there was this one scene where he has to dock onto the space station.
Yeah,
and the AI tells Matthew it's not possible, and he said, but it's necessary.
That's right.
I think this is the right mindset for all our listeners and online retailers.
It's not possible. It's necessary.
It's necessary.
And the AI didn't have that
the gut.
Yeah,
the guts.
The gut and the guts and the feeling.
Now, question to you: is it possible to do a great outro? Because it's certainly necessary, man.
It's not possible, but it's necessary.
It's necessary.
Yes. So.
Excellent.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
This has been another episode of Growing Ecommerce, brought to you by Smarter Ecommerce. To learn more, visit smarter-ecommerce.com. And as always, if you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, follow, like, and give us a shout out on social media or recommend us to a friend. We really appreciate it.